Now, as I promised, discussing about user event, let's do that. As per the official documentation, user event is a companion library for testing library that provides more advanced simulation of browser interactions than the built-in fireEvent method. And I will explain how. But first, let me just use the user event instead of fireEvent in the test we have written and check the output. So now here I'm going to say import user event from testing library / user event. And now instead of this fireEvent, I just have to say user event. That's it. The test runs absolutely fine. So in terms of code, there is nothing much changed, but actually there is a lot behind the scene. When a button is clicked, these all events are fired in this order. The first is mouse over. So when you want to click this button, for example, first the mouse comes, that is mouse over event is fired first. Then mouse move event is fired. Then when you start pressing the button, mouse down event is fired. Because the element got the focus, if it is focusable, then the focus event is fired. When you release the mouse button, mouse up event is fired for that element, and then the click event is fired. Now when you are writing fireEvent.click, it will directly run the click procedure. That means code written on other related events will not execute. Let me repeat this. If you write fireEvent.click, then you are missing events getting fired along the way. But if you use the user event library, it will execute all the events in the exact order. So user event actually gives better interaction. So if your test does not have to be so interactive with all the events, you can go with fireEvent.click or fireEvent.any other event. No harm in that. But you have a possibility of other events in the way to be checked. User event ought to be used. Now let's talk about relative questions. So explain the difference between fireEvent and user event. So as I mentioned, fireEvent means directly the event, and user event is almost like what actually happens in the browser. All those events are executed. The second question is, in which situation you will choose user event over fireEvent? So again, almost the same answer, that when you know that you have to make sure that all the events have to be executed, you don't want any event to skip, you do not want to directly call any other event, then you can certainly go with user event. And commonly you see developers using user event more often than fireEvent these days.